Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Raleigh police are investigating a suspicious death near Garner Road. We're live on the scene with what we've learned about this case.
More proof that North Carolina is definitely in play for the November election. As you look live here in a couple of hours, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance will address supporters in Asheboro.
Plus, closing arguments are underway in a case that could impact death row cases all across North Carolina. We'll explain how Hassan Bakote's attorneys argue he was sentenced to death due to racial bias.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we're following some breaking news. A Warrenton man was arrested after he called police on himself to tell them there was a dead man inside his car. This is Roger Inge. He called 911 yesterday after pulling over. The Johnson County Sheriff's Office responded. That's when they found 22-year-old Dontarius Batts dead in his car. He was a full-time caregiver for Batts, who is a special needs adult. He is employed through Universal Healthcare. He's also a janitor at Cleveland High School. He told police he went to work at the high school at 8 o'clock in the morning. He left Batts in the car with the windows rolled off and up and the engine off. He checked on him at 10 a.m. He said he was fine. He then did not go back to the car until after 4 o'clock. That is when he found him dead in the car. He is charged with involuntary manslaughter. He is placed under a $35,000 secured bond.
Raleigh police are investigating a deadly shooting that happened early this morning on the city's southeast side. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Let's get right to WRAL's Sean Gallagher. Sean, walk us through what you know so far about this investigation.
Yeah, Renee and Jeff, RPD wouldn't go as far as to call this a murder investigation, but tell me they are considering this a suspicious death. And you can see there are crews that are still here behind me beyond the tape. This tape has been up all morning. They're looking for more evidence. And then over towards the right, there is a white tent where there has been a lot of focus this morning as well. Now, this is video from Sky 5 up above about what the scene looked like early this morning. And this is what we know so far. Raleigh police telling us just before 6 a.m., officers were called for a report of a shooting, finding a man with a gunshot wound near Carnage Drive right here near Garner Road and Bragg Street. RPD only says there's a death investigation under the way, so we're still waiting on details about what happened, but this is what it sounded like over radio traffic this morning.
Male, code 7 on the ground, and then she said that he'd been shot.
Possibly going to be an obvious death. Subject was found on the yard.
Now, just beyond the tape here on the other side of this scene is Carnage Middle School. According to their calendar online today, it is just a teacher workday. I reached out to Wake County Schools to verify that. They tell me no kids were expected to be in school today, just that teacher workday. They don't have their first day of school until next week. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Former President Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance are set to address supporters in Asheboro, North Carolina in just a few hours. The speech is expected to heavily focus on immigration. It marks Trump's second visit to our state in a week and Vance's first North Carolina stop since his selection for the Republican ticket. WRAL's Ashley Rowe is live in Randolph County with a preview of the rally. And Ashley, the national anthem just wrapped up.
It did, Renee, and we've got speakers coming onto the stage, and we've got videos playing, really starting to try to get the crowd energized ahead of the official rally that starts with J.D. Vance speaking at 1 o'clock. There are, according to the campaign, about 4,000 people in attendance at this rally, and I can tell you, with this being what we believe to be the first outdoor rally since the assassination attempt, the security is noticeable. There is glass around the podium, and the Secret Service has said previously that they were intending to bring bulletproof glass to future rallies. We also see snipers on the roofs surrounding this aviation museum. As you mentioned, the focus of this rally is going to be on national security, and we do expect that J.D. Vance and former President Trump will be broadening that definition of national security to include immigrants, illegal migration, and especially their key talking point of closing that southern border. Against the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris. I asked just about 20 minutes ago the North Carolina GOP chair about where things stand. The polls have shown that things are closing in North Carolina. Here's his response. The latest polls showing that Kamala Harris is making gains in North Carolina. This is Trump's second visit in a week to North Carolina. Is the campaign at all concerned about these gains that the Democrats are making?
Well, I think what we're seeing is a normal election cycle, especially for North Carolina, where it's always a close race. And so we're going to continue to make sure we get our message out to all the voters and secure a victory for President Trump and all our candidates up and down the ballot.
Former President Trump expected to take the stage at 2 p.m. We will bring you the very latest here on WRAL. Reporting in Asheboro, Ashley Rowe, WRAL News.
Meantime, it is day 3 of the DNC in Chicago, and the theme is a fight for our freedoms. Tonight, the DNC will highlight how Vice President Harris will work to protect America's freedoms while portraying Trump as a threat to those principles. Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, is expected to deliver the keynote address as he officially accepts the vice presidential nomination. We'll also hear from former President Bill Clinton and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Last night, Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff gushed over Harris's leadership, followed by electrifying speeches from former First Lady Michelle Obama and former President Obama, each highlighting how Harris cares about the average American.
Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is.
Tonight's main event is all about Walz, as he takes this opportunity to introduce himself to much of the country who really don't know a whole lot about him.
Happening now, attorneys are making closing arguments in a case that could have implications for more than 100 inmates on death row. Hassan Bacote and his attorneys argue that race played a role in his sentencing for a 2007 murder in Johnson County.
WRAL's Chelsea Donovan has been following this hearing for us this afternoon. And Chelsea, Bacote's case is based on a previous law that was meant to address systemic racism in the criminal justice system.
Yeah, that's right. Closing arguments started a couple hours ago in Johnston County. At the center of this court case is the Racial Justice Act. Now, before it was repealed in 2013, that act gave inmates like Bacote the power to challenge their death sentences if they believed racism played a role. In Bacote's case, his attorneys argue systemic racism affected the jury selection process. Bacote was sentenced to death by 10 white jurors and 2 black jurors back in 2009. His attorneys argue that prosecutors in our state went to great lengths to keep black people off juries, particularly in cases where the defendant was black.
Yeah, the Racial Justice Act was, in fact, a direct response to, yes, McCluskey, yes, to Batson, but yes, also to the legislative hand in this history of racial exclusion.
Now, if Bacote's claims are proven true, he will instead serve a life sentence. His case could pave the way for similar cases in terms of the scope and application of the Racial Justice Act. A judge is expected to rule on this case this week.
A lot of eyes on that case and its significance. Chelsea, thank you. Federal health leaders visited Durham today to talk about how to make drug overdose treatment more accessible in our communities. Dr. Rahul Gupta oversees the Office of National Drug Control Policy. He made a stop at the county jail to meet with local law enforcement and public health leaders. 2 Narcan vending machines are available to the public in Durham, one at the public health office, the other at the county jail. Dr. Gupta explains free access to this treatment is a game changer.
Every time this happens, it's a leading effort for the country as an example, for the nation, for the state to do that. Are there enough across the country? No. This is why I'm here today, to exemplify the leading efforts of right here in Durham County.
Dr. Gupta says overdoses in North Carolina have declined in recent years. He says there was a 14% decrease in overdoses in our state compared to a 5% national decrease.
In less than a week, students at Wake County traditional schools will be back in class, and Wake is just one of several districts fighting a growing problem of vaping among students. Nearly 400 students in Nash County were caught with vapes on campus this past school year. A new grant is helping them create programs to teach students the dangers of vaping. WRAL found other districts like Chatham and Warren counties have plans to install vape detection systems.
Something that's colorful and looks like candy doesn't mean it's candy. You really need to understand what are the ingredients, what are the risk factors, how do they affect our health.
And 5 other school districts in our area, including Wake County, have campaigns to inform students about vaping. Young people vaping is the topic of our next WRAL documentary. Investigative documentary reporter Kristen Severance spent months speaking with teens, top doctors, and lawmakers to figure out why so many students are addicted to vaping and what can be done to stop it. Watch Gen V, Teen Vaping in North Carolina. It'll air September 26th at 7:30.
Next at noon, a push for a change of venue, where Bryan Kohberger's lawyers want his trial to be moved as he's accused of killing 4 Idaho college students.
Also, what killed billions of crabs several years ago in the Bering Sea may happen again. What the warming water there could mean in the future.
Plus, get ready for another change on the Beltline, how traffic will shift overnight through a busy section. Elizabeth.
And outside is the place to be. Look at that. Our muggy meter is dropped all the way down to comfy. We are looking at a gorgeous stretch of weather. I'll show you how long it will last.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center. 5 people are in the hospital after a school bus crashed into an apartment building in Memphis, Tennessee earlier this morning. This is video here. The bus driver suffered a medical emergency, lost control of that bus and crashed right into the building. 2 girls and 2 adults on that bus were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. A woman who was not on the bus was also taken to the hospital. A resident of the apartment building says that bus slammed right into her son's bedroom. Luckily, he was inside, but he was not hurt.
Bryan Kohberger's attorneys are asking for his trial to be moved 300 miles south of where it's scheduled to take place. His lawyers cite a mob mentality in the town where 4 college students were killed. But according to NBC's Laura Jarrett, prosecutors say Moscow, Idaho is more convenient for witnesses and the families of the people killed.
This is State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger.
They're calling it a mob mentality. That's how lawyers for Bryan Kohberger describe the current atmosphere in the area where he stands accused of that grisly quadruple murder.
Right now, he's being held to have a trial in a county that believes that he is guilty.
The defense team making one last push to get the trial moved 300 miles south to Boise, Idaho, the state's capital. In a new court filing, defense lawyers now point to damning quotes from residents they surveyed in Latah County, saying if Kohberger wasn't found guilty, there would likely be a riot, and he wouldn't last long outside because someone would do the good old boy justice. Another allegedly saying they'd burn the courthouse down. The defense expert who conducted the survey testified in April about the frenzy of media attention surrounding the case.
There's been quite a bit of discussion, spread of rumors, misinformation, factual information all over social media, which you'd expect in small communities such as this.
But prosecutors are pushing to keep the case where it is, saying the defense has failed to show that a change of venue is necessary or convenient.
This case has national, if not international, attention.
Kohberger is currently set to stand trial next summer for the murders of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Madison Mogan in an off-campus home near the University of Idaho. A judge entered a plea of not guilty on Kohberger's behalf. Now, 21 months after the killings shook the college town, the community of Moscow will unveil a healing garden and memorial in their honor later today.
How do we present the liveliness of these people? Like, they may be gone now, but we don't want to lose that amazing spirit that each of those individuals had.
Developers are building new homes in a once rural community in South Carolina, but a new lawsuit wants to stop the growth. Anderson County approved a plan to develop a 175-acre plot for housing. Phase 1 has already been approved for 150 houses. The second phase would bring 182 additional homes and 92 townhomes. There's one problem, though. A historian says the land once housed a plantation, and there are likely unmarked graves on the land.
Concerned that the owners and MED and the developers are putting in this dense subdivision, and they're not putting any effort into finding these enslaved graves after they have been notified.
A hearing on the lawsuit is set to take place today.
Breaking news within the last 30 minutes. Divers searching sunken super yacht wreckage have found 2 bodies off the coast of Sicily. The crews resumed that search today for the 6 people missing off the coast of Sicily. Italy's Coast Guard is using a remote-operated underwater vehicle to help locate the remaining passengers who were believed to be trapped when that ship went down. One man, the ship's cook, was killed when a sudden storm hit that area, sinking the 184-foot boat. And of the 15 passengers rescued, 8 were taken to a local hospital for treatment and were in stable condition. A 1-year-old was among those rescued. This next story is so unbelievable. You really have to see the video to believe it. The police are searching now for a woman who was caught on video enticing a tiger at an enclosure at a zoo in New Jersey. She climbed over a wooden fence to get at that tiger enclosure and just began messing with it there. You see her climb out there. She was nearly bitten. The woman eventually turns around, walks off, hops back over the fence. Climbing over any fence at the zoo is a violation of the city ordinance, as the sign would indicate right there. And I would think if you need to climb into some place at the zoo, that would be one of the last ones I'd try.
Yeah, and look at the tiger just kind of pacing there, seemed restless and agitated. This is not a here kitty situation.
Those kitties don't play.
No, no, no.
We have a sneak peek at fall in full swing right now. Weather feels fantastic.
Jeff, what are we doing inside here? Okay, we should have followed Elizabeth Gardner, who has the right idea, out on the WRAL weather patio with a look at how long it's going to feel this comfortable.
Y'all can come on out here with me anytime. We will make room for you right here on the patio. It is lovely out here right now. It really feels good. Of course, you can see the gardens behind me and on our screen here looking absolutely beautiful. There were a few people out here enjoying the beautiful weather just a little while ago. And of course, while we're known for azaleas here, there's something blooming all the time in these gardens. Just absolutely beautiful. 74 degrees is our current temperature with a dew point of 50. And so it feels like sometime in late September. And I wish that we could, just kind of keep this. I don't want it to be late September already. We don't want to, wish any time away. But boy, what a lovely, lovely feel we have going on out here right now. Speaking of lovely, thanks to Amy Telega for sending us this beautiful rainbow there from Morehead City. So pretty. We love our Weather Watcher photos. Please go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and send us a few. We'd love to see what's going on. Hopefully you're going to be able to get out somewhere this afternoon, and maybe you can take us a picture and show us what's going on. I still have some flowers blooming in my yard, so send us that. That would be great to see. 79 for the high this afternoon in Raleigh, 78 in Durham, and 82 in Fayetteville, so just feeling lovely. Perfect weather to be outside at lunchtime. Now, of course, since you're watching us, we would hope that you would just stay until 1 o'clock, and then, then you can sneak on out and enjoy it. But temperatures in the mid-70s, low dew points, low humidity, just really feeling fantastic. 88 is our normal high, and we're looking for 79 this afternoon. Gradually, the temperatures will creep up, but it should feel really nice through Friday. And then gradually Saturday and Sunday, we start to see the temperature and the humidity slowly climbing. This morning, we dropped down to 59 degrees. We should be a couple degrees cooler than that for tomorrow morning. And then the overnight lows will climb just a touch, but 64 for Sunday and Monday will still feel fairly comfortable. And the normal morning low during the summertime can be as warm as 72. And so this will feel much, much better. Look at that. We're down to refreshing right now. We'll feel that again tomorrow. And then by Friday and Saturday, we climb through comfy, and then up to tolerable on Sunday. That means we're just going to add a bit more moisture into the atmosphere. Right now, the bulk of that moisture is along a stationary front off the coast. But as we get into the weekend, we're going to start to see some moisture moving up from the south and in from the west. Now, we shouldn't feel too much of it Saturday. Pack-a-Palooza would be just one of the fun things that you could do on Saturday. It starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's out there on Hillsborough Street. Big celebration of NC State, but it's open to the public. So far, we've had 58 days at 90 degrees or hotter, and the average through this week anyway is 37. So we are ahead of that. Our normal last 90-degree day of the year is around September the 12th. That's about 3 weeks from now. The latest is October 10th. Hopefully it won't be that late, but we definitely have some 90s in our forecast for Monday and Tuesday. Coming up, we're going to take a look at how things are developing in the tropics.
Sounds good. We'll just hold down the fort here in our air-conditioned studio while she's a designated survivor out there. The COVID summer wave is here, but we could see a new line of defense soon. Coming up today at 4, a Moderna executive talks with our WRAL health reporter about this upcoming booster, how it will provide better protection, and when you might be able to get a dose.
Then at 6, back to school time could mean added expenses, and how your student pays for school lunch could cost you more. 5 on Your Side explains how to get around paying junk fees in the lunch line. More than 28% of Americans are searching for new jobs right now. That is the highest in a decade that they've seen that rate. Explanations and expectations of losing one's job also hit a record. The survey finds the average expected likelihood of becoming unemployed rose to 4.4%. That was up from just under 4% a year ago. Economic forecasters remain optimistic, saying a full-blown recession remains unlikely. A federal judge strikes down a Biden administration rule banning a non-compete agreement. Now, the clauses are commonly signed by workers to keep them from joining rival companies for a set period of time or launching their own competing business. The judge says the Federal Trade Commission doesn't have the authority to ban practices it deems are unfair by adopting broad rules. The rule was set to take effect next month.
Supermarket baby food aisles are packed with foods that contain too much sugar and misleading marketing claims. Researchers analyzed 651 foods for children ages 6 months to 36 months. 60% failed to meet recommended World Health Organization nutritional guidelines for infant and toddler foods. 70% did not meet guidance on protein content. Another 25% failed to meet calorie recommendations. Almost none of the foods met all of the standards for clear labeling of ingredients and accurate health claims. Chinese-linked fast fashion giant Shein is suing rival Temu. Shein accuses the retailer of stealing designs and confidential trade secrets. Shein claims that Temu loses money on each sale it makes, but uses trademark infringement to make up for the losses. Along the way, the two have racked up a mountain of criticism related to their labor practices, their connections to the Chinese government, and their alleged use of other brands' designs.
Beyonce is getting into the luxury liquor business, teaming up with Moet Hennessy to launch a new whiskey line called Sir Davis. Now, for more information on this, Sir Davis is named for Beyonce's great-grandfather, who stashed whiskey bottles as a farmer during Prohibition. The whiskey is 51% rye, 49% malted barley. Sir Davis will be available starting next month for $89 a bottle.
We have a traffic alert for drivers who use I-440. The big change coming tonight, how you can navigate it, and when things return to normal.
Wake County Schools preparing parents now for the new school year, which starts in less than a week. Today, they're talking about school meals. What's new when it comes to who will get free breakfast and lunch? And here are your winning NC Education Lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
The Beltline is about to undergo another round of significant changes starting tonight. From Sky 5, you could see the stretch of I-440 East that we're talking about.
Yeah, the work will create a collector lane, as it's called. Now, traffic on I-440 East and Western Boulevard can get to the ramps from those collector lanes for Hillsborough Street and Wade Avenue, and then can continue on I-440 East. WRAL's Ken Smith is here. Give us an idea, Ken, what drivers can expect tonight.
Yeah, you got all that? Yeah, I know. This is all part of the 440 widening project. Temporary off-ramps will be put in place at Wade Avenue and Hillsborough Street. The construction will start around 9 o'clock tonight with lane shifts. Ramps will close around midnight. Now, crews will use that time to restripe the pavement on the ramps of the Beltline from Western Boulevard and Hillsborough Street. Some drivers we spoke with are ready for this Beltline construction to be done.
You can't get anywhere unless you're going to at least take like an extra 20-30 minutes added on to the time you got to be there.
Estimated time of completion. That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have that answer, of course. The work should be completed and ramps reopen at 5 a.m. just in time for the morning commute tomorrow. Now, be sure to follow those clearly marked signs that will help you navigate this new traffic shift and temporary ramps.
All right, Ken, we're all up at that time to check on it, so thanks. These open fields right here in southeast Raleigh could soon become home to hundreds of new townhomes. Developers plan to build nearly 300 homes on Whitfield Road near Rock Quarry Road. It's part of an effort to satisfy the need for housing in a rapidly growing part of Wake County. Durham-based Gander Development plans to develop those homes and be in that area for the project. They say the housing boom is happening to try to keep up with the influx of new businesses coming to the area. The developers say they are working to select a national home builder. They plan to break ground early next year.
And keeping it in Wake County Schools is preparing parents for the new school year, which starts Tuesday. Today, they're talking about school meals. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains what's new.
We're expecting to get an update about school meals ahead of the first day of school next week. Yates Mill Elementary is one of the schools that's been added to the list of schools that will offer free breakfast and free lunch to all of their students without the hassle of filling out paperwork. About 60 Wake schools will offer free meals to all students this year. If your student does not attend one of these schools and you want them to receive free or discounted meals, there's an option. You must fill out a meal benefits application. Wake County Commissioner Matt Calabria says this is the largest expansion for this program in years. Calabria says they reallocated county funds to get more federal dollars to pay for free school meals. Nearly 10% of Wake County households don't have enough food, according to county data.
We don't ever want a family that's working class or that's struggling to have to make tough choices between food and medicine and paying the bills. And so taking a real significant cost off the table for them makes a world of difference.
We have a full list of the schools that will offer free meals for all of their students on our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
The Wake County School Board voted to cut back on graduation requirements for students. This is in compliance with a new state law. Credit requirements are now reduced to 22 credits from 26. These new requirements are affecting a lot more people than just Wake County. They are required under a new state law passed in last year's budget. It affects students who are currently juniors. Wake County is also dropping its foreign language requirements and encouraging students to take more credits to prepare for life after high school.
Raleigh City Council is moving forward with plans for Red Hat Amphitheater, but an official decision on relocating that venue won't be made until a public hearing next month. The plan would close a portion of South Street, and that would allow for the outdoor venue to expand. It's a project business leaders say is vital to keeping a multi-million-dollar economic driver downtown. There has been some pushback, though, from people who live in the area. Yesterday, many people with business connections to downtown shared positive opinions on the relocation. We also heard from people expressing concerns.
There's another street permanently. Transit will suffer greatly, but businesses will eventually suffer the most. A critical artery to downtown for the many thousands of new residents around Dix Park will be severed. Red Hat Amphitheater needs to stay downtown, but South Street must remain open.
I want Red Hat downtown, but in order to have the proper Red Hat downtown, that one section of South Street does need to be closed.
So the project doesn't officially have the green light yet, but the council voted to take the next steps, and they want to give the city approval to start the process of buying the land across from the amphitheater and adopt a resolution with the intent to close that portion of South Street. A public hearing is set for September 17th.
Testing for Alzheimer's through a simple blood draw. Why these new tests could be a game changer for earlier diagnoses. Plus, concerns about the warming temperatures of our planet's bodies of water, why researchers are focusing on changes in the Bering Sea and what that could indicate.
And remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, former President Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance they're in North Carolina. Ashley Rowe sent this picture in just a couple of minutes ago. You can see the crowd here and the Trump aircraft flying right over. He'll be speaking at the North Carolina Aviation Museum and Hall of Fame at 2 o'clock. He plans to talk about national security. We also have a live picture of the podium where Trump will be speaking. Ashley Rowe is there. She'll bring us live reports throughout the day on WRAL News and on WRAL.com.
The number of people diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease is expected to rise over the next several decades.
Testing patients for Alzheimer's can be costly and difficult without a hospital setting. Kevin Uretsky takes a closer look at how blood tests could provide faster and more accurate diagnoses for patients.
When it comes to medical issues impacting health and wellness, doctors say early detection is key for people to get proper treatment faster. This also applies to diagnosing Alzheimer's disease. According to the Alzheimer's Association, nearly 7 million Americans are living with the disease, with a staggering 13 million expected to be affected by 2050. While traditional tests to check for signs of Alzheimer's already exist, neurologists point out several setbacks.
Those tests include cerebral spinal fluid tests, but that requires undergoing a spinal tap, or an amyloid PET scan, which requires a specialized brain scan.
The results of a recent study, however, could be a game changer. Researchers in Sweden gathered blood samples from more than 1,000 patients being evaluated for cognitive symptoms.
This test measures levels of tau and amyloid in the blood.
Scientists say the new blood tests were able to predict an Alzheimer's diagnosis with 88 to 92% accuracy among participants. Doctors say blood tests like these could be done in primary care clinics instead of a hospital setting.
With blood tests, I think that hundreds of thousands of people could be tested for Alzheimer's disease.
This is Kevin Uretsky reporting, and while this study needs to be replicated across more diverse populations, researchers are hopeful these new blood tests can offer more affordable and timely results in the future.
Flying fish may be cool to watch and even catch, but they're harming the ecosystem. How a new program hopes to stop the spread of invasive carp. Plus,
I am just about to get myself fired.
Simon Cowell tries to pull a fast one during last night's live edition of America's Got Talent. The shocking move that has the judges embroiled in a golden buzzer controversy.
Tonight we'll find out which acts will advance to the next round of competition on Season 19's AGT, along with the Golden Buzzer recipients' Air Footworks.
The four-person group from Japan stunned the judges with their gravity-defying moves. Howie Mandel had the power of the golden buzzer, but Simon Cowell tried to beat him to the punch. Replay, however, showed that Howie did beat Simon in getting his hand on the buzzer and delivering the group a spot in the show's season finale.
It wasn't his turn. It's not fair. I want to complain, but he is management. When you have a complaint to lodge to management about the management, there's a conundrum.
For his part, Simon Cowell says it's not about who touches the golden buzzer, it's about who says it. And Cowell claims he said he would give the group the golden buzzer.
He saw what I was going to do and then tried to steal it. So legitimately, it's my act now, and he can have mine.
This season, Cowell also caused a stir by awarding a second gold buzzer to Sky Elements during the auditions. That move led to all judges receiving an extra buzzer push. He's management.
The scandal happening there. Billions of crabs starved to death in the Bering Sea near Alaska in the wake of a marine heat wave there several years ago. And marine scientists have evidence it is likely to happen again. A study released today says the demise of the snow crabs appears to be just one impact of the massive transition unfolding in that region. The lead author of the study says the Bering Sea is a bellwether as an indicator of what's to come. Plans are underway to stop the spread of invasive carp in Minnesota's waterways. During the 2024 session, the legislature passed a $12 million investment to create an invasive carp deterrent system on the Mississippi River. Invasive carp pose a threat to native fish, aquatic plants, and silver carp. They also pose a physical threat to boaters as they jump out of the water.
Beautiful weather outside. Hopefully you're enjoying your lunch outdoors as you watch us here on the New News. WRAL's Elizabeth Gardner out on the weather patio there, and it feels absolutely wonderful, I'm sure. I'm jealous, Elizabeth.
Y'all come on out. It's absolutely perfect out here. Our temperatures are in the mid-70s. Our dew point is down around 50 degrees. There's a little bit of a light breeze. I mean, it just couldn't feel any more fantastic. I'm sort of surprised that we don't have just hordes of people out here enjoying the weather. But, you know, it's one of the first days that we've really felt like this. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, maybe people just, you know, aren't thinking that, yeah, it's going to be, you know, so nice. But it definitely is. We're looking at just lovely conditions across our area. A little bit on the breezy side. It's a very comfortable breeze. It's coming out of the north and northeast, just about 10 to 15 as we get through the rest of the day. We have a front that slipped to our south. That's opened the door to a nice flow coming out of the north and northeast, and it just feels lovely. Hey, you know, one way to get outside this evening would be grilling out. Our temperature will climb just into the upper 70s, and by the time folks are looking at dinner time around 6 or 7 o'clock, we're looking at low to mid 70s. It should feel just wonderful. The blue shaded areas are where temperatures are below normal, and the yellows and oranges are above normal. And so you can see this is not going to last forever. We don't typically see temperatures like this until maybe mid to late September, and we're not going to be able to, you know, kind of slide past that. So there is more heat developing back to our west. This is Monday at 2 p.m. and we start to see those temperatures climbing. But the 79 for today is going to feel fantastic. Our normal for this time of year is 88, and the record for today is 105, set back in 2007. We broke that all-time record high of 105 earlier this summer when we hit 106. Tomorrow morning is going to feel fantastic. We dropped down to 57. I mean, that might be jacket weather for some of us, like me. I get cold easily, so coming in short sleeves tomorrow, I may be grabbing that jacket. Looking at 59 in Fayetteville, 57 Clinton, 54 Rocky Mount, 51 in Roxborough. Everybody likely to be in the 50s overnight tonight, and that is sleeping with the windows open kind of weather. 82 tomorrow afternoon, 82 on Friday, and 86 on Saturday. So still feeling very comfortable in the afternoon, and perfect weather for the first football Friday of this season. At 6 o'clock, 80 degrees, 74 at 8 o'clock. So it's really going to feel great even as the games begin. So we're going to go from that nice cool 57 on Thursday morning to 94 on Tuesday afternoon. You know, but again, you know, these temperatures are normal for, you know, mid to late September. So we are going to see the potential for some warm conditions starting early next week all the way through the holiday weekend. Not expecting anything tropical to develop, though, in the next 7 days. It is the peak of the hurricane season, but the tropics are looking nice and quiet. Enjoy this beautiful weather all the way through Saturday before that warm up starts.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Art in color. It might not seem like a big deal to most people. Why a special event at a local museum is giving visitors a new perspective.
And winning Mega Millions numbers 5, 20, 26, 49, 51. The Mega Ball is 24. The Mega Plier is 4. This is a live look right now. Southern Pines. Yes, Longleaf Golf and Family Club. Yes, please. As you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
A preview of what you're going to do this afternoon, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was told to get outside, so
you follow orders.
We wrap things